Welcome to Medieval Kings, Church Power, Conquest, and the Mongol Hordes. This is Melinda Klein. From 1000 to 1300, Western civilization developed into a thriving medieval world centered around the production of an agricultural surplus, while the Christian Church and its popes modeled society, trade, and politics with its ancient ideals and practices. All the while, a landed aristocracy vied for power and local authority with strong military alliances. Together, this developed, though not evenly, into a government that contested the powers of the Pope in favor of secular monarchs who were often good military leaders. This period of the High Middle Ages was a time of reform, conquest in the name of God, economic revival of long-distance trade and commerce with a growing population. From the age of 7, William the Duke of Normandy, France, as head of state in his time, he would gain political and military experience in dealing with invasions and rebellions. Upon the death of his cousin, Edward the Confessor of England, in January 1066, William claimed the throne of England because Edward had named him heir during a visit in 1052 AD. The resulting war for political power is remembered as the Norman Conquest. The key battle of this war was the Battle of Hastings, fought October 14, 1066, in which the ensuing Normans claimed victory on the battlefield. The Bayeux Tapestry is 230 feet long, rolling, embroidered linen cloth, which depicts scenes commemorating the Norman Conquest, pre-war tensions, alliances, and the Battle of Hastings. It's annotated in Latin. The Domesday Book was the record of English property and property holders across the realm. It was completed in 1086, made for William and his government, similar today as a census. The Magna Carta was originally an English charter from 1215. It is the most significant early English document that led to the rule of constitutional parliamentary law of modern times. The Magna Carta was created because of the disagreements between the Pope, King John, and his English barons. The Magna Carta required the king to renounce certain rights and respect legal procedures, and most importantly, the outcome of this political move was that the will of the king could be bound by law. The influence of the Magna Carta outside of England can be seen in the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. As Europe became a civilization, it remained defined to one geographical area. While merchants had contacts outside of Europe, the whole of Europe did not, and by the 11th century, Europeans attempted to expand beyond the frontiers of Europe by conquering the land of Palestine. The Crusades were based on the idea of a holy war against the Muslims or non-believers, also known as infidels. By the 13th century, popes, monks, friars, and Dominicans all argued what direction the Christian Roman Church would take during the Middle Ages. The people too experienced cultural changes in their practices of piety. Their worship of religious artifacts, symbols, and saints intensified. Why was this so important? Well, this transition in worship unified the practicing of Christianity through object worship, taking in three respects: worship of the saints, relics, and taking a pilgrimage to a Christian cathedral such as St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican or others across Christendom. Muslim wars had taken Spain from the German Visigoths by 711. While the Hispanic, post-Roman, Greek-German population fought against Muslim rule, it persisted until Spain was unified again in 1492 by Queen Isabel and Ferdinand. This effort to end Muslim rule in Spain, which was weakened by the 11th century, was orchestrated as the Reconquista, for Christians, the Reconquest. El Cid became one of the most well-remembered of the Spanish Christian warriors to aggressively battle against the Moors. The eruption across Eurasia of the Mongols, an aggressive steppe nomad people, remains one of the most successful military undertakings of all time. Within 30 years, the campaigns of Genghis Khan took the cavalry east to China, Korea, and attempted to invade Japan, to Russia, and Hungary in the west, and south to Persia and the present-day Middle East. The Italian Marco Polo returned from 17 years as a trading visitor, not allowed to freely leave Kublai Khan's Mongol court, finally obtaining his permission in 1291. After Marco Polo's return to Venetia in 1295, few of his contemporaries could believe his tales of travel and riches found in China and how he returned home across the Indian Ocean. The Mongols are pastoral people now found in Eastern, Central Asia, including the Republic of Mongolia, parts of China, and Russia. Their written language dates from at least as early as the 11th century. Mongols are thought to have been a loose confederation of tribes until the Mongol conqueror Genghis Khan united them into one formidable nation in the early 13th century. Under his leadership, they developed into a powerful army that swept across Europe and east into China, eventually forming a widespread Eurasian empire. The descendants of Genghis Khan ruled large areas of China, East Asia, Russia, Iran, and Turkey for long periods of time. The Mongols were subsequently overcome, and they returned to relative political obscurity. Genghis Khan died in 1227. This was a peaceful transition of power from father to third son, who ruled from 1227 until his death in 1241. Ogadai is remembered for his major campaigns into Europe. He invaded from Russia to Germany and has been to date the only foreign invaders to defeat the Russians during a winter campaign. In 1241, he entered Europe and defeated European armies in two big battles. Batu, Genghis's grandson, put Russian territories under his rule. In 1258, Baghdad was conquered and the Caliph was executed, ending the Abbasid Empire. By 1260, the majority of the Middle East became known as the Il-Khan Islamic State of the Mongol Empire. In a time of internal political strife, Timur was able to rise from obscurity to establish power within the failing and disunited Il-Khan Mongol state. As an overview, the empire of the Mongols migrated, conquered, east to Korea and west to Germany and south to the Middle East. Nomadic peoples backward and held their property and animals. The horse provided everything. The Mongols were excellent in warfare and created a military state full of power and heroics, an enjoyable process for them.